Welcome to SATV News. This is Nouri Alamin with the headlines. Conspiracy to steal votes on the way, said Tariq Rahman at Sylhet rally, calls for restoration of voting rights democracy. 10-party unity to win election by big margin, said Nahid Islam. NCP remains firmly in favor of reforms and justice. 891 polls candidate have crossed in asset, said TIB. Significant increase in Islamist candidates. Now in details. BNP Chairman Tariq Rahman today called for the restoration of democracy and the return of power to the people. Addressing a public rally in Ainpur ground in Sherpur Upazila of the district, as part of the election campaign, he said, over the past 15 to 16 years, Bangladesh has witnessed a series of partial elections in the name so-called voting, sometimes held in the night, sometimes through vote rigging. Throughout the entire period, the people of our country have not had the genuine opportunity to their right votes. He also added, the BNP chairman reminded everyone that between 2001 and 2006, during the BNP government tenure, party leaders including Saifur Rahman undertook many projects for the development of this area. But after all, 2008, all those development activities have came to a halt, handing over to Steve the party symbol to the candidates of 4 constituencies present at the rally. Tariq Rahman said that these candidates' responsibility would be the address to issues of road, school, colleges, hospital, and sorrows and sufferings of the people in the area. Besides, he alleged that a party is issuing people of religious sentiment, saying that voting for them will send people to heaven. To avoid such confusion and tension, he requested the interim government to triple the security of the leader of the party so that no unpleasant incident occur due to some public anger. BNP Standing Committee member Mr. Abbas today pledged that if elected, he would take measures to eliminate terrorism, drugs and extortion from society. Mr. Abbas made the pledge while addressing a roadside rally at Shantibagh in the capital this afternoon as part of his election campaign for Dhaka 8 constituency in the forthcoming 13th Jatiya সংসদ election. He expressed optimism that upcoming national parliamentary election would be held in a peaceful and orderly atmosphere with the participation of all political parties. Earlier in the day, he formally inaugurated his election campaign by arranging Dua Mahfil in his residence here. The BNP leader said he would work to ensure a democratic political environment alongside social and economic development and enhance security for residents of his constituency. National Citizen Party convener Nahid Islam has said that the Jamaat Islami-led 10-party electoral unity is set to win the upcoming election by a huge margin. He also made the comment today while speaking to journalists after paying respect at the mausoleum of 3 leaders on the Dhaka University campus at around 12 p.m. shortly before the party formally began this election campaign. He also said there was no alternative to a victory for the 10-party alliance to carry forward reform in line with the aspiration of July, calling on voters nationwide to back the alliance. Nahid urged the public to make the 10-party alliance victorious and to elect the 30 NCP candidates contesting across the country with party is Shapla Koli symbol and send them to parliament. Nahid accused the government and election commission of failing to act neutrally and alleging they were offering some special facility to a particular party. Professor Ali Riaz's special assistant to the chief advisor told a town hall meeting that every citizen represents the yes candidate in upcoming referendum as a positive vote will secure a democratic and humanitarian future for the nation. He also made the remark while addressing the divisional auditorium in Kurla as a chief guest. He also argued that yes vote would fulfill the aspiration of July mass uprising and open the door to building a new Bangladesh. Ali Riaz urged attendees to not only vote themselves but also to inspire the neighbor and acquaintance to reach the polling center. He also emphasized that the nation, long oppressed by fascism, seek an enlightened future free from fear and enforced disappearances. The special assistant explained the significance of July Charter, a reform document furthered consensus of the political parties. A total number of 891 candidates contesting the upcoming election are millionaires when assessed on the basis of current market value of their movable and immovable asset. Among them, 27 candidates possesses asset worth over the 1 billion taka. The information was disclosed in a report titled Candidates Profile Based on Election Affiliates, 30 National Parliamentary Election 2026, prepared by Transparency International Bangladesh. The report was formally presented at a press conference held at TIB office in the capital Dhanmondi area today. TIB official Mohammad Tauhidul Islam presented the findings at the event, while TIB Executive Director Iftikhar Zaman also addressed. According to the report, nearly 2,000 candidates are contesting the 30th National Parliamentary election. The International Crimes Tribunal 2 today affirmed the charges against 7 accused, including Awami League General Secretary Obadul Qadir, for alleged crime against humanity committed during the July mass uprising. The 3-member tribunal, led by Justice Nazrul Islam Chaudhary, passed the order scrapping discharge petition filed for the accused. The tribunal also set February 17 for placing opening statement and recording deposition of prosecution witnesses. All 7 accused are absconding. Senior prosecutor Mizadul Islam and prosecutor Gaji M.S. Tamim took the part hearing for the prosecution, while advocate Lokman Hawladar and advocate Israt Jahan are for the defense. The second tribunal on January 18 had set today to pass the order and indictment the other accused for the case and Awami League Joint General Secretary AFM Bahauddin Nasim, former State Minister for Information and Broadcasting Muhammad Ali Arafat, Jubilee League President Sheikh Fazle Shams Parosh, and General Secretary Manul Hussain Khan Nilkhil, President of Band Bangladesh Chhatra League Saddam Hussain. A fire at roadside shops selling cheap salvaged goods besides the Dhaka-Chattogram highway in the Shitakunja on Wednesday night destroyed at least 8 shops and triggered hours-long tariff congestion on the country's busiest highway. The incident around 9:20 p.m. at the Chairman Ghat area near the Shonargaon filling station under Shitakunja Upazila. Local sources said the affected shops mainly sold the general and electronic items salvaged from old ship as the fire erupted night beside the highway vehicle.
সারা দেশে লাখো মানুষের কঠোর কর্মতৎপরতা ও নিষ্ঠায় এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন 16 কোটি মানুষের হাতের নাগালে। দীর্ঘ 30 বছর ধরে বিশ্বস্ততা ও দ্রুততার সাথে সেবা দেওয়ায় গ্রাহক সেবায় এখন শীর্ষে। বাংলাদেশে গ্রাহক সেবার সাফল্যের পর এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার।
Taking a short break, stay with us.
এখন বিশ্ব বাণিজ্য কেন্দ্র সিঙ্গাপুরে। আপনার যে কোনো পণ্য সিঙ্গাপুর থেকে বাংলাদেশে বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন। এসএ পরিবহন প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, লজিস্টিক্স পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, 22 Roberts Lane, Singapore 218302. Phone 0065 629 24900. বাংলাদেশ থেকে সিঙ্গাপুরে পণ্য বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন ঢাকা সহ দেশের যে কোনো 80টি শাখা কেন্দ্রে। এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, আপনার সেবা সব সময়।
Welcome, Grand Palace Hotel, Dhaka. A majestic lobby blending timeless elegance with modern design. Experience
Welcome back, and you are watching SATV News. Now, news from abroad. U.S. President Donald Trump on Wednesday withdrew a threat to impose tariff on a number of nations for their stance on Greenland, saying they had reached the outline of a deal with NATO on the island future. Based upon the understanding he would not be imposing the tariff that were scheduled to go into the effect February 1st, Trump wrote on Truth social meeting and after NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte in Davos. Earlier, Donald Trump ruled out the use of force, his bid to control Greenland, on Wednesday, but said in a speech in Davos that no other country can secure the Danish territory. Trump made this comment in a closely watched economic speech that has been overshadowed by firing the transatlantic tensions with Europe over his push to acquire Greenland. He downplayed the issue as a small ask over the pitch of ice that an acquisition would be no threat to the NATO alliance that includes Denmark and the United States.
Oh, good. That's probably the biggest statement I made, because people thought I would use force.
German Chancellor Friedrich Merz on Thursday welcomed U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to back away from threats to seize Greenland by force, from ally Denmark calling it the right way to go. Any threat to acquire European territory by force would be unacceptable, Merz said. The World Economic Forum in Davos, new tariff would also undermine the foundation of the transatlantic relations. If they are put in place, Europe's answer would be united, major and firm. Trump at the weekend to threaten the Great Germany and the other European countries that had rallied around Greenland with hefty new tariffs from next month.
We support talks between Denmark, Greenland, the United States on the basis of these principles. I have discussed this with President Trump, Prime Minister.
U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff on Thursday said a lot of progress had been made. The Ukraine peace talks and the negotiations were down to one issue without elaborating. Is the time to end these, Witkoff said while making two impromptu appearances at breakfast meeting panel on the future on Ukraine, including NATO Secretary Mark Rutte, the Finnish President Alexander Stubb. The United States had held the talks in Russia and separately with Kiev and European leaders on various different talks on the plan for ending the war in Ukraine, but no deal has yet been reached despite Trump's repeated promises to clinch one. Meanwhile, NATO chief expresses confidence that Trump was committed to Ukrainian independence and sovereignty as well. He also said that U.S. President Trump had discussed the Davos how to transatlantic alliance should best defend the Arctic against Russia and China as well. Rutte said he had a very good discussion with Trump on how NATO allies can work collectively to ensure Arctic security.
Yes, not only Greenland, it is the whole Arctic. 7 nations in NATO, 1 outside NATO, Russia.
China's foreign ministry on Thursday dismissed as groundless accusations of Arctic ambition after NATO said negotiations over Greenland with the U.S. were arrived at preventing Russia and China from getting a foothold in the Arctic region. The so-called China threat is baseless, Foreign Ministry spokesperson Go Zhekong said during a regular briefing on Thursday. China opposes the practice of fabricating things out of the air and using China as pretext to pursue personal interest.
反对无中生有，拿中国作为谋取私利的借口。
At least 11 Palestinians, including 2 children and 3 journalists, have been killed in Israeli attack on Gaza since dawn, with 6 others injured, said Gaza Ministry to Health. Munir Alberts, Director General of the ministry, told that photojournalists 5 have been killed when the vehicle was stuck on Wednesday. Work for Egyptian Committee for Gaza Relief, which survived the Egypt relief work in Gaza. Anas Goniam, Abdul Rauf Shatah and Mohammed Questa were documenting development on the ground in central Gaza near the so far called the Netrazim corridor when they were hit to Israel attack. According to medical officer, a 3rd person were also killed in this attack. In a separate attack in central Gaza, 3 other Palestinians from a single family, including child, were killed in eastern Deir Dabbala. In the southern Gaza, 13-year-old was shot and killed by Israeli soldier. Russia could send $1 billion from Russian frozen asset in U.S. to board of pitch even before the decision to accept the US President Donald Trump inviting on the mate, Russian President Vladimir Putin said on Tuesday. Putin commented on the US proposal during the meeting on Russian Security Council. Even before we decide on issue the participation in the composition and work for the Peace Council, taking into account Russia's special relationship with the Palestinian people, we could, I think, send $1 billion from Russian asset frozen under the previous US administration Board of Peace. Putin said Russian president also spoke about latest Trump declaration on the Greenland. Putin estimated the price of island $2,200 to $250 million just compared to gold price at the same time. The figure would have been higher, probably closer to $1 billion.
Что касается нашего участия в Совете мира, то МИДу России поручено изучить поступившие к нам документы.
Meanwhile, Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky arrived in Switzerland on Thursday for talks with US President Donald Trump. Zelensky said on earlier this week that would not attend the annual World Economic Forum in Davos and would remain in Kiev to focus on the energy crisis in Ukraine, where Russian airstrike against electricity infrastructure have swept for the capital in the other region without power. Zelensky had said he would only travel to Davos if there was the opportunity to sign an agreement with Trump on resolving the near 4-year war, including security guarantee and post-war reconstruction funding for Ukraine. On Wednesday, however, Trump announced that would be meeting the Ukrainian leader in the Davos. Rescue workers in northern New Zealand searched for several missing people on Thursday after a landslide at a campsite triggered by heavy rains. Homes were evacuated and roads closed as the heavy rain hit almost the entire boat on the North Island. The downpour caused widespread damage and left thousands without power. The landslide occurred at 9:30 a.m. local time, sending rubble the baffling down on the campsite in Mount the Morgan.
5-star comfort in suites and rooms. Sophisticated fine dining restaurant. Crystal clear swimming pool for ultimate relaxation. Modern gym and serene spa for well-being. Perfect venue for corporate events, weddings and parties. Seamless.
That has unfolded behind us in the last few hours.
2 people died in Greece on Wednesday after torrential rain flooded street, homes and business in Athens and other parts of the country, authorities said. A woman died after being hit by a car that was carried away in flash flood the southern Athens suburb by the Glafada, the fire bridge official told to Reuters. Southern suburb was the worst hit by the flood water, burying car and towering homes. The fire brigade received hundreds of calls, trumped water out of flooded buildings in Athens. Before ending, we'll go through the SATV News headlines again. Conspiracy to steal votes underway, said Tariq Rahman at Sylhet rally, calls for restoration of voting rights democracy. 10-party unity to win election by big margin, said Nahid Islam. NCP remains firmly in favor of reform and justice. 891 polls candidates have crores in assets, said TIB. Significant increase in Islamist candidates. You are up to date with our top stories so far here on SATV, and to know the latest news, visit www.satv.tv. Stay with SATV.